Welcome to Battlearms Solutions. With NRA being in Houston this year, we are having the opportunity to get a lot of really interesting people to do interviews with. And the one gentleman we have here today is Mr. Huang from Battlearms Development. Now, anybody in the industry who deals with AR-15s has heard of Battlearms Development. They have some of the really nicest made parts, very lightweight components, which I think really is your specialization, is making lightweight weapons and lightweight components. So before we get a chance to get into some of these really new guns, we want to talk about where did Battlearms Development come from. And the best way to do that is to ask the gentleman that started it. So, George, can you give us a little bit of an idea of where your company came from, how you started it?
Of course. To keep it short, it's I started into the firearms after 9/11. Decided to have my own firearm the very first time after 9/11, and then that grew into a hobby. Hobby turned into a training and almost like a historian, studying all the different.
Going down the rabbit hole.
Yep, and it's just that slippery slope, And as an engineer, designer myself, background, I like to take everything apart, put it back together, and understand how everything works. So that led into me coming up with the company, Battlearms Development, in 2009. My partner at the time was Roger Wang. The two of us were friends and trained. We trained together, we shoot together, we go to the desert, we learn about our weapon systems, and that's when we started talking about, hey, we should make some products because there's a niche in the market that doesn't have a product to fill those needs. So we started with the M14 T1 tool, which is called the Armor. It's like 30-something functions in one. Fits in the buttstock storage compartment. That's how we got started. So T1, and then we did two more tools out for the M14 and one Garand. And then my partner Roger asked me to do something to solve the problem with the AR-15. So that's when the company kind of grew, step into the AR tactical world, and we made the first, we called it the BADASS, or Battlearms Development, BAD, Ambidextrous Safety Selector. The acronym just kind of happened to be that way, and that stuck. So that really opened the world up for us. We were doing this part-time. I was working for, I'm a casino architect firm, designing casinos around the world at the time, and my partner Roger was doing IT consulting. So we were just working on our homes. So the project that we did for safeties kind of grew, and every year kind of we double and triple our sales every year. So after a while, I was like, okay, this is getting too big to do this part time. So we had to make a hard decision. So that's when, at that time, I was in Las Vegas. My partner was in California. So we decided to part ways at that time because he was getting married, met a lady in the Marriage Life Society in California. We have a factory manufacturing in Las Vegas. We're like, okay, I figure you're not going to move out now. So we decided to, so I took over the company. He was the front man, pretty much was the face of the company for many years. I was the engineer behind the scenes, designing the products, doing the manufacturing, coordinating, that kind of thing. So he was on the gun forums and dealing with the customer service.
I was one of the ones he dealt with.
Yeah, so Roger's great, but seriously, he and I are very good friends, and I know he has the best personality for customer service, but when he comes to customer service, he was great. But but his personality, I was like, hey, Roger, yes, he doesn't like people, but when he comes down to it, he makes it very, he's really great with people. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of like the dichotomy there. But so we pride ourselves in at very good customer service, trying to be on service our customers 24/7 on the weekends, nights, and we take pretty much a lot of suggestion into heart. So rather than the big companies where, hey, you may make suggestions, nobody let's really do anything, we really took it to heart and trying to make improvements, enhancements, and changes, and listen to our customers, see what they want. So that's kind of how the company started. We went in full time maybe about 5 years into it, so 2014-ish. We have a facility in Henderson, and that's when our first 5,000 square feet facility. It was like, wow, we've become a real company now, And I had to retire from my position as Steelman Partners at the time, building casinos, and went to full time because I was teaching at UNLV, designing casinos, and doing battle arms, 3 jobs in a little small daughter at the time, so it was too much. So now we're that's how we finally made the decision to make that jump. So with any business owner, that was a very major life-changing decision, So
Absolutely.
But after that, that's when we went from a handful of products.
I remember your second product, if I recall, an AR market was your.
Enhanced pivot and takedown pins, right? And we really focus on details, attention to details that most people just overlooked. And we've been laughed at, and people joke that, what else can you do with a pivot and takedown pin? We're like, well, actually, there's plenty. We actually have 2 U.S. utility patents on the pivot pins alone. So one of it is the easy install feature, which is a easy guide channel that helps guide the D10 from a small groove into the large main channel, and then has a magnetic assist that holds the D10 in place. So you can use a single hand, put in the pivot pin, and install it in 3 seconds. And it's one of the more challenging things to do. When you first build the AR-15, you don't have to build the technique yet, how to put it in. You futz around with it. And
as an armor instructor, we used to call those the damage springs and pins because as soon as we would teach people how to do those, you'd be flying across and bouncing off the wall. And then, of course, when you're done, you sweep up and you'd end up finding all those everywhere. Yeah, that was that's one of the most frustrating parts to try to teach somebody how to.
A funny story with that, we actually created that invention actually came out of us where we had our machine shop. We got the first prototype of the pins. We're all excited, trying to put it in. We have the enhanced heads that has an easy pull, dimples and everything else. So it's like triple the pull strength. And Roger tried to put a low receiver. He tried to put it together. He's struggling, put it in, and he couldn't put it in. And then he literally shot a D10 spring and hit me straight in the forehead. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to put this in. And we're on the spot. We actually just looked around to see what stuff we have. It's like, why is it the pin is so hard to put in? Oh, because you're trying to put a pin on a round surface. That's why you can, sliding out. It's like, okay, well, we're a machine shop here. Let's put a groove, extra groove in there. Okay, took it there, put a groove, and then, man, it's so hard to hold a D10. We had to use a little tweezer, try to hold it, and like all these little tricks. Like, well, we got a little magnet sitting right here. Let's try it. And then literally that's how it came about. We literally invented that feature on the fly. So along with other products, that's what we've done was just enhancements are some are minute, some are I will say some are potentially game changing, some are all different degrees throughout all the products, entire firearm, everything from muzzle device to triggers to safeties to buffers, all that. We make incremental improvements so that the collection of all that culminates into a better next generation firearms. To me is in taking the AR-15 from the 60s into the modern world. And from what I was coming from working in the theme entertainment industry, theme architecture, whether it's for building casinos or building theme parks for Disney, the technology moves so quickly.
That's correct. You were part of the dream team for Disney.
For Walt Disney Imagineering. Yeah. Okay. So about California Adventure, Disney Studio Paris.
I remember that.
Yeah. So we always design with technology that's 5 years ahead of its time because it takes about 4 or 5 years to build the theme park because you don't want to build that and then opens and then go, oh, that's old technology. So we always have to think ahead. So anything that to me was like, this design is from when? Vietnam era and was still being used. And how much changes have people been done? Did to it. Like not much have changed. Like wow, just like a cell phone. I buy a cell phone and 6 months later, that's old. That's out of date. And certain technologies, certain sectors move so quickly, and certain ones like the firearm side is much slower. Right? And we still have a 1911 to this day. It's over 100 years old. It's still one of the popular handguns. Even the Glock has been around for many years and decades.
83, 85.
Right. So we just want to change things to move that industry along because we're passionate about it, and this is what I enjoy.
So obviously coming into it, you knew that there's probably close to 200 companies that were making parts for it. Correct. So you had to figure out what your niche was going to be. Absolutely.
We know going in, my partner Roger and I discussed this at the time. It's like, look, we're the little guys, okay? We're nobodies. We're coming in the industry. I don't know a single soul in the entire firearm industry. I've never manufactured before, but I've designed and engineered quite a few products for multi-billion-dollar projects. So I know I can make improvements to it. I need to learn. I mean, again, I no means know everything at the time. Even today, 14, 15 years
No,
later,
we always learn.
and the more I know, the less I know. It feels like.
The important thing is to know what you don't know.
Exactly. And know who to call when you don't know something, right? So that's the most important thing for me. Like in Imagineering, we got like 5,000 Imagineers. Nobody think they know anything, but every time we get a challenge or something, this is brand new and never been done before. Can you guys do it? We always say, yes, we can do it. We want to try it. We're trying. We're going to make it happen. So that's why I see that, in a firearm shoots where like, hey, we're the new guys. Nobody knows us. How do we become successful? Well, hopefully become successful in the industry is to, one, we got to out innovate our competition. So we have something better and different, not just different, but better, right? And then because if I make the same apples to apples products,
Just 200 companies.
yeah, everybody else is going to beat us left and right because they've been in the industry, they already pay off the equipment, the machinery, they have the marketing, they have the name, the brand. Nobody's going to buy from us. I don't have the volume that they have. But if I create a new widget that is better, then people can make a decision, decide for themselves, is this product better and is it worth the extra money, right? So that's how I started a company, is to, I'm going to create something that's selfishly for me. And what I think is the gun of the firearm should be, what the product should be. If it's good enough for me, hopefully it's good enough for my customers. And hopefully people will see the value in that and say, wow, it's not apples to apples, it's apples to oranges. Maybe I like the orange better and I want to pay more money for the orange because the orange can do more, whatever that is. So we started with NB controls, which nobody addressed it at the time. And then the issue of the safety, hitting your knuckle. I was like, oh, let's make it interchangeable levers, different sizes and shapes. Is we want to design a weapon platform that fits the end user, not try to force upon the end user one configuration. Hey, one size fits all. Here you go. We want to say we all are different sizes, different finger lengths, different hand sizes,
Size
different
Sasquatch
size.
versus size normal hands.
Right. So it's hard to have somebody, hey, here's a one size fits all. You're all right-handed, right? Because I'm not a left-handed person, but I understand the importance of having NB controls. So that's how we came about doing
And it seems like the common theme is making it as lightweight as possible, maintaining integrity.
Yes. So at the time, one of the goals is so how can we innovate in the space? One is, at that time when we first got into the game, very, very few NB controls. Most of the weapon is
Mil-spec.
Yeah, mil-spec, right-handed only. So it's like, well, there's still 20% of the population? I forgot what the split is left-handed. So what about those people?
All they got was a fire cartridge case deflector. That's all they got in all those years.
So we want to make NB controls for everybody. Again, it's about making a weapon to suit the end user better. And at the same time, this is always me when we're designing anything. Why make it heavier? Why make it bulkier when you don't have to? So that's why I would engineer the receiver, engineer the safety, engineer every other part. And we always taken that weight into mind, into consideration, that, why put excess weight in? Because what's happening is somebody had to use this. Somebody had to carry this all day long, right? If you're carrying it, maybe a few ounces here and there, may not.
Ounces equal pounds.
Yep, pounds equals pain, right? So when you carry that rucksack, 80 pounds of training, and you're like, okay, every little bit counts. And, so that's when we figure, okay, the money's no object in a way that, I must say money's no object, but we try to design it with the design freedom where it's like, okay, forget about money one moment. How do I build the best product possible with the best technology we have today? And then once I come up with that product, then we say, okay, how can I make this the most affordable product, but it still have these features, and it still maintain the strength, maintain the quality, that, and without going too crazy. Obviously, because we're creating something new, of course, it costs a little bit more than some older methods of producing the product or mass producing the products. Just like the safety traditionally is a cast product. The whole thing is easy. It's cast and there's one piece. The problem, the casting process is not very precise. So there's a lot of tolerances and it's gritty. So that's why also people safety is really gritty and hard and people don't feel like it. When we switch machine, the safety selector, all billet. And now it's buttery smooth and it's super precise, only holds 2/10 on a Swiss machine. That's just amazing how quickly they can, how accurate they machine stuff. So it's a night and day difference. And the only point is like, is it worth money more? And hey, the people to get to decide. Some people can feel that it is worth it, and some may not feel it's worth it. Depending on where you are in terms of expertise or experience with the firearm, some people can tell. Just like drinking wine, you may give me a $5 bottle of wine, and I'm not a drinker, so could be $100 bottle of wine, be no difference to me. But if you're a connoisseur,
I'm the same way. But my wife, on the other hand, she can tell you.
Right.
She's a connoisseur of the first order.
Right.
Now, if my memory serves me, you came out with receiver sets before you did complete rifles. Is that correct?
That's correct. So, thinking as an architect mind, when like building a building, casinos, theme parks, anything, foundation is everything. So you don't have a good foundation, you got nothing. Okay, just like the Vegas casino where they had to tear it down because the foundation, they didn't do a good foundation. They had to tear down the casino. They can go as high as they want to go. So same thing on the firearm. I don't want to be another assembler. Majority of AR manufacturers out there, I look at it, I study and go, what's really different about your product? That looks like mil-spec and not a mil-spec.
And what do they make in-house?
Right. How much you make in-house, you assemble. They make maybe 1 or 2 parts that's different, maybe unique. And the rest of them are just, there's a different finish with a new logo. Put it together. I mean, we could have built complete firearms on year 1. But I was telling Roger, it's not right for us to build a complete rifle and then tell our consumer, look, we're a firearms manufacturer. We're not. We're just an assembler. Now, how do we differentiate ourselves from other people? We don't. So, and it's a learning curve too. So we're like, okay, we got into this space. We need to learn to walk before we run. I want to improve, micro focus on every component of firearm and make it better. By the time I'm done, and then collection of all that then becomes a much
and that's exactly
better.
What you have. You have one of the really. You definitely have your own style. Your firearms have always had a unique look to them that was a unique flavor to you. And the nice thing about these assembled rifles that you have here is virtually every part that's on there, a customer could buy to enhance his own rifle.
Absolutely. And we always think about giving people choices. We're not, forcing them that you got to buy a complete rifle. You can buy as many or as little parts as you want to customize to your own taste. It's a Lego set. I want to give you design freedom to do whatever you want. And I'm not going to force it on people. So, that's how we approach it. So we finally built complete rifles once we hit that critical mass of 95% components that we actually engineer, design in-house. We may not manufacture everything in-house, but nobody does
everything.
Right. So we at least, hey, these are to my specs, to my prints. This is how it's going to be. So we feel good that when we hit that critical mass, I'm like, okay, now we can become a firearms manufacturer. Because now I can put a rifle on there and not like 2 weeks later or a year later, but I got to change this part because finally, this is not my part. I got to use somebody else's as a filter, and now I have it. Now I can put it in and change the specs. It's like, no, I'm going to launch the rifle, and they're all going to be 100% pretty much battle arms the way that we want it.
In the future, we're going to be looking at the individual rifles, battle arms development, the different, from your beginner grade right up to what we have here is the professional grade. And I do have a particular favorite, and it's this model right here. And could you tell us a little bit about this one?
Of course. The way that it looks is based on our billet receivers. Actually, this is our new generation billet receiver. We actually have, this is the third version. The first version is the B8556. It's a lightweight receiver. Non-ambi. And then we create the B8556 ambi receiver that is like a PDW, our ambi PDW. It has an ambi bolt release and a proprietary ambi mag release. So now evolution, now with the third version, we decide to take a hybrid of the two. We made some improvement to the lower receiver so that it still has a standard mag catch slot, but because you can see here, we have developed a new drop-in ambi mag release. So I no longer have to have a proprietary cut. So the whole thing is about always backwards compatible. So anybody that wants to use a mil-spec part, they can drop it right in and not say, oh, we can't buy this Battlearms MB. You can put it in Oregon, you can put anybody's MB mag release in there. So we still have the built-in bolt release. So this lower receiver is full MB. So the MB bolt release, of course, with our MB safety selector. So this
Probably
is
one of
now,
your more signature features is your safeties.
that's correct. And what's on here is the MB Badass Light, the lightweight with the aluminum lightweight levers. We currently manufacture this in Henderson, Nevada. So it's all billet and the 7075 T6 aluminum. So this rifle, traditionally with this billet receiver, which we're going to launch our new line of all our Authority Elite. That's the series. The Authority Elite series are all built with billet receivers, upper and lower. And this is our workhorse rail, and it has a end lock and a Picatinny rail on top, and our signature kind of slot cut down the middle for weight savings.
And I'm noticing we have a rifle length gas system on there.
Yeah, so this particular rifle is not chamber in 5.56, which is traditionally our Authority Elite is in 5.56. This one is 6mm arc. We actually experimented and looking at this new caliber. We're very excited about it, and we're looking to see if we can build a short, compact, long-range weapon. Because we have received a lot of requests internationally for a dream gun, and for a while we couldn't have. We were short one piece of the key piece of the puzzle, which is the ammunition. They want an AR-15 size chassis, lightweight, as light as we can get it, which like that OIP, and as short as we can go, and still hit out to 1,000 meters. So for a while, we're known for lightweight, we're known for MB, we're known for compactness, for PDW stocks and everything. So we're close, but we're like, with a 5.56 chassis, we can only go so far with a short barrel. It's very difficult. So this one is actually, what length is this? This one is a 16-inch. So we actually would test it with a 12.5 6mm arc. And yeah, it's a muzzle velocity, exit muzzle velocity about 2,500 feet per second. And it's still going to reach out to 1,000 meters, which is very interesting. We tried it between 12.5 and 16. We only lose about 100 feet per second, so which is negligible. And it's this length savings or weight, and also the size. It's as for us, it's better to go 12.5. But this one is set up as a longer rifle, barrel, of course, but we really like the caliber. I think it had a potential. So this is a 6mm arc is designed to be that long range sniper.
You also have a very particular interesting pistol grip on there too.
Yes, this particular pistol grip is our collaboration with is X-Tech. So it has 3 position. It's all design of the grip. They're using their a gear mechanism in here. So it allows the pistol grip to have 3 separate positions. So for longer rifles, usually you have more angular grip, and for shorter, more compact weapons, you have more of a vertical grip.
I also noticed you don't have a forward assist on there.
That's correct.
I find that very pleasing, by the way.
Yes, we didn't feel like the forward assist is a feature that was absolutely necessary.
Neither did Gene Stoner.
Yeah, and especially on the lightweight system, that's something that we can shed without compromising. We haven't had anybody really complain, hey, I didn't have a forward assist. And sometimes for me, it's like if the bolt does not want to close, there's a reason. Yes, you don't want to force it.
Yeah, that's a really big pet peeve of mine over the years.
Right.
Now, you also have your own charging handle as well.
Absolutely. So what we have up here, this is what we call the rack ambidextrous charging handle. I know a lot of times people overuse the word, hey, this is game changing, or this is the unique and different. So unlike a lot of products, this charging handle actually have a U.S. utility patent, not just a design patent or something. It has 3 U.S. utility patents for its uniqueness. And then when it comes to functionality, it has a number of features that a lot of charging handle lacks.
Gas busting technology.
Well, it has, I would say, so we have higher fence here, which mitigate the gas from blowing back into your face. If you look closely, this charging handle has one piece design. Is what I call a monolithic handle that has left side and the right side charging handle is actually one piece. So actually, thank you, Seth. Here we have actually a clear version for demonstration. So just so you can see a little bit of the internal mechanism. So the charging handle actually is very simple. It has the shaft, and you can see the back side of the shaft. It actually form a T shape, okay? And then it has the latch, which is what you see here that moves sideways. And then we have the handle. It's only 3 pieces, and then 2 screws and sprit. Very basic, clean design. It actually took me 3 tries, 3 patents before we finalized on the design. So what does that mean, right? And it's like, okay, what does that mean? So a monolithic handle is really strong. Okay, it doesn't have 2 pivoting arms, and does not have roll pins. One of the problems with the charging handle is the roll pin. It is too weak, and the roll pin is not meant to take the force. Granted, a lot of people design things, they fix one problem, then they create 2 new ones. So the mil-spec charging handle retracts into the body. So when you pull on it, the T handle shape itself, you're pulling out the body, you're not pulling out the latch. So the roll pin doesn't take much load other than spring pressure. When people make a tactical latch, they make it extra long. That's great for grip, but you also added a tremendous amount of extra force that roll pin is not designed to handle. So a lot of people break the handle, they split the handle, the roll pin pops out. Then you have a jammed charging handle. And also, the charging handle is always meant to be pulled on both sides evenly, so that the charging handle doesn't flex. The way they're designed, it tends to like to flex the shaft. Our charging handle, the way it's designed, you naturally like to center the load. When you pull on it, the load pulls down the center. It doesn't flex and bend and turn like a lot of other charging handles, which I'm sure a lot of you felt you ever have a charging handle you pull out.
Yeah,
and first thing, and the first thing you hear is the shaft. For me, when I pull it, is usually the left side.
You'll see the wear too.
You see the wear, immediately you hear that, and then all your anodizing just got ripped off to the bare metal. You can smell that, in the air.
Absolutely.
And immediately you can feel it flexing. On the others, it does not flex. It goes straight back, and you can see many times look at all charging handles, very, very little wear on the sides. And the other improvement we've done is, see the little latch, when I pull the left side, the latch actually slides sideways. It does not pivot. So I pull this side, it slides sideways. I pull both sides, it also slides sideways. It slides apart this way in parallel surfaces against the notch on the upper receiver. So it's a smooth, clean unlocking rather than pivoting. When you pivot, you're clawing your way out.
You're wearing the receiver.
And you're wearing the corner of the receiver. Once you round that upper receiver notch, then the charging handle no longer locks, and it'll bounce back and hit you in the nose. So that's an improvement. The slick latch, side sliding, monolithic handle, right? Very robust design with 2 giant lugs in here. The screws are only to keep the pieces together, but they all rest on 2 giant aluminum lugs on the inside. So when you pull on it, it is strong enough where we actually try to stress test this. We mount on a vise, and we actually hit it with a 4-pound steel hammer, try to break the handle off. We cannot break the handle. We actually physically broke was the shaft. We stressed it so much. So if you understand, everyone's charging handle, due to the design of the AR-15, the shaft geometry is the only part that really pretty much must be maintained this shape. There's not much change we can do to it. So that means the charging handle has already exceeded the max strength of the shaft. So if you can break the shaft and not break the handle. Okay, and we also over one Thanksgiving long weekend with our engineer, and I were just like, hey, we're just curious, how long can this survive regular use, like left side, right side charging. So we fixtured this in a Haas CNC machine on the vise. We put a wooden dowel on the spindle head. We programmed to go left side, right side, pull on it, and just articulating it nonstop. We actually had 250,000 cycles per side. By the time we got back from Thanksgiving break, it was 500,000 cycles. We thought for sure it would have broken the charging handle. We came back, still going. You know, you can see the cycle count, 250,000 per side, and then we took it all apart. Everything's great. There was the little tiny bit of wear, and we're all surprised. So
very interesting.
So this is why I say this is, in my opinion, again, I'm biased.
Of course,
the strongest, the best charging handle on the market, hands down.
I'm looking forward to trying one.
So
the model we have here looks very, very interesting. Your PDW. Can you give us a little bit of a background on that one?
Absolutely. So the PDW is also more of a culmination of all the best technology that we have. We still build based on the PDW is the billet receiver. This version still have our built-in NB.
So that's a Gen 2.
Yep. So and then it has a workhorse rail. It has an adjustable pistol grip, and what it has also is our NB controls, NB safety, NB charging handle, and this right here is our Vert PDW stock system. So it's a complete stock system that is only about 4.75 inches in length. It's one of the shortest PDW system on the market, and also the lightest on the market that you can have without a proprietary bolt carrier or a proprietary adapter that prevents you from shotgunning the upper receiver. So a lot of the system require you to put something in between or change out your carrier. Ours, you can use any standard M16 or AR-15 bolt carrier, and it will still function. Everything is back here. We have a patented buffer system, patented locking mechanism. Now this is our Gen 2 Vert stock. We made a lot of improvements. We actually have two QD sling points on the either side rather than the heel. We actually improved the guide rod, and this is again the first in the industry. The guide rod, you see here, it's a quick release.
4-position.
Okay. You can see this 4-position. It's actually user adjustable. You're right to say this multi-position or 2-position or quick release because the guide rods has 3 channels on here, meaning that the end user can take the guide rod and rotate it to go from 4-position, 2-position, or quick release and lock. Right now it's set to a quick release. You can see I just had to depress the lock to close the stock. Okay. And when I want to open it, I just pull. So it's a quick deployment. All right. That's came from a lot of feedback from our customers. Originally, when we built it as 4-position. Everyone said, oh, can you have a 2-position? I just want to open and close. Okay. So we built one 2-position, and they're like, oh, can you make a quick release? I don't want to press the button when I'm in a hurry. I'm like, okay, so we built that. And then I can never make anybody happy because everybody wants a different. It's like, okay, fine, I'm going to give everybody what they want, build all in one guide rod. So we also use the S72 steel, high impact strength steel. Unlike a lot of other stock rods are made with softer metals and things, we actually use a stainless ball detent to lock the guide rods in place, and very minimal obtrusion because we only do a little dimple in there, so there's no stress risers. There's no sharp corners. Not like large notches that are cut in traditional guide rods that are weakened. You're only as strong as your weakest point. So when you cut halfway through a guide rod, guess what? I don't care how thick your guide rod is. If you cut through halfway, you only have about half that material, right, for strength. Ours, you can barely cut into the rod, and just a little dimple actually is the patented system that we have. So a little ball detent to go locks right in its place. It's all inside the housing in here. We improve the latch. We make it larger, more comfortable, easy to depress. We also have the ball bearing here is protected by 2 steel plates so it doesn't wear on the housing. And you don't hear a lot of rattle. There's no rattle.
Solid.
And it's roughly 19 ounces overall with the buffer. Complete stock system with the buffer is about 19 ounces versus A lot of other systems like this were about 28 to 32 ounces, very heavy and longer. Some are 5.5 inches longer. So not all PDW stocks that were created the same.
No.
And ours is super compact. Some of them look the same with 2 guy rods, and they're longer.
What is your barrel length on that?
This is a 7.5-inch barrel without the muzzle device. So this rifle overall length is roughly 21 inches. Okay, so this is pretty much the size of MP5. Okay, we built this in 300 blackout. Typically, this setup is for 300 blackout, ideally for a 7.5-inch barrel, and we call this model the Silent Professional. It's actually this is will be built subsonic, 220 grain with suppressor, and our buffer system actually is diverse enough to handle supersonic rounds suppressed, all the way down to unsuppressed subsonic. It's all because of certain military law enforcement demands that have asked, hey, we want to shoot the gun indoors, subsonic training with no suppressor, and then we want to carry duty and shoot it with a suppressor. And that's literally 2 separate weapon systems.
So would you have these in selective fire for law enforcement military use?
Yeah, we can make a select fire. Yep, absolutely. But our model on our website is semi-auto, of course. But our buffer system can accommodate a pretty wide range. Of course, it'll be gassier when you have a fully suppressed supersonic. But when you go subsonic, only limitation is the ammunition should be about 220 grain and 1,050 feet per second or faster. But after that point,
85.
Yeah. So anything below that, it tends to not enough energy to cycle or lock back on the last round.
Now, the barrels, are those manufactured by Battlearms Development?
The barrels are under contract. They are manufactured for us.
Okay.
We do not manufacture the barrel in-house, but we have our own specifications that, as you know, and every manufacturer have different type of equipment, and barrel manufacturing very specific. So we go some of the best barrel manufacturers and we say, hey, this is what we want, and we cooperate with companies to manufacture our barrels.
Well, that brings us to new for 2022. This is a really neat one. Can you give us an overview of
Yes.
the newest?
The latest release, this is our OIP rifle. It's basically, in short, this is basically our godfather of a lot of the weapons, godfather to the Authority Elite weapon system. This is the generation 3 of the OIP, and the OIP stands for ounces is pounds. So this is, I would say, the best analogy would be like, this is like Formula F1 race car. No nonsense, ultra lightweight. It's every technology you can squeeze into it. This is what we've done. So price is no object, and so we want to build an ultra lightweight rifle. This particular generation, we went as far as 3.8 pounds on Gen 2.
Wow. And
on Gen 3, we actually went backwards a little bit because we want to add in a little more extra features. This is 4.5 pounds.
Wow.
Because we went with a full-length 16-inch barrel, so the end user, just for legal purposes, the Gen 2 was 14.5 with a pendant welded titanium comp, and then a 13 or a shorter handguard. This is now a 15-inch handguard, so if the guys with bigger frame, longer arms can reach out.
Their sword techniques.
And you can change the muzzle device to a suppressor capable adapter, right, or a direct thread. So we listen to our customers and say, hey, I don't mind a little extra weight, give me more features. So we went back. We also gave them a full Picatinny rail at the top. On our older generations, there's no Picatinny rail here, only a little section in the back for a red dot design. And then we also made our handguard also user serviceable. The Gen 1 was not. Gen 1, you actually have a special tool to go in. Only a factory can remove the handguard. Now it's user serviceable. We also make improvements further, like in Gen 1 and Gen 2, it's just a right-hand only receiver, billet lightweight receiver. With this new generation, we have MB controls. So on this, you can see on the right side with the MB bolt release, and on the left side, we actually added in MB mag release. So of course, I have our billet bolt catch. It has a lightweight, badass light safety selector. It has our OIP specific carbon fiber, so pistol grip. The handguard is a filament round carbon fiber, and it has an M-lock accessory options on here. So you can put here's a QD sling mount. And it still has our fixed mid-length buffer tube and a lightweight butt stock. It has a titanium stock screw, titanium grip screw, titanium pivot and takedown pins. You also have our titanium BCG, and that's also very important. Titanium, a lot of companies are trying to use titanium things, but you have to do things properly. As we find out with titanium, it tends to gall. Okay, if you do not properly treat it. So I waited actually 2 or 3 years. Finally, there's a technology that came out that can harden titanium. So it's armor tie. So he takes the titanium, harden it, kind of like nitriding steel, so that we do not have any deformation or galling from the hammer riding on the bottom of the bolt carrier. So this gun was just shot yesterday. The range, well, we probably have 1,400 rounds through it, and then the recoil is super light. We have a 9-year-old shooting this gun full auto, and no problem handling it. And it also has our small head rack charging handle on here. So
Interesting ejection port cover as well.
yes. So and this one we also added another one of our patents. We have a clear dust cover, and people say, "Oh, it's just for aesthetics and looks." Not really. Actually, it was a functional purpose, because what we discovered is that most of us, all of our guns have dust covers, but for me, that is always fairly useless, because what do? We go to a range, or even without a range, we're out in the desert. What do you do for safety? We put the guns down. We got the ejection port up, bolt lock back, so you can see a clear, empty chamber for safety. So, in the desert, wind blows, sand gets everywhere. Why have a dust cover? Because you have a dust cover, but you don't use it. You can't use it because safety. Well, I'm thinking, okay, why hasn't anybody come up with this? Why don't we just make it clear so I can close the dust cover, see the empty chamber, and that's what we done. So we decided to put the clear dust cover. And in early generation, the OIP do not have dust covers. Those feet, do not have dust covers. So this is actually, that's one of those things that we added in that added a little bit more weight into it.
This has an extremely thin pencil barrel. So what was the overall weight of this one?
This 4.5 pounds. Wow. Yeah. So it actually has a proprietary titanium gas block in here. It actually weight less than the gas tube. Has a thumper titanium compensator up in here. So this is all ours. So literally, you look at this gun, is pretty much nothing is mil spec. Even down to the buffer system is proprietary. A patent the buffer system, our own springs. We actually use a hyperfire trigger in here.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Yep, and the grip screws titanium, the stock screws titanium. So I'm looking at this, I'm trying to think of, okay, all right, the gas tube is mil spec.
Okay.
Okay, so the gas tube I didn't change the gas tube. So that's the only thing. Even a detent, we use our own proprietary detent with KNS. We also have, maybe the detent spring and safety selector springs are mil spec. But
You've certainly removed some aluminum from it as well.
So the receiver magwell, we also have some extra skeletonizing in the front here. That's a little bit of aesthetic differences there from the previous version. And a lot of little details. Even down here, you see a giant magwell, very large funnel. So it's actually added about 50% more width to the magwell. So it's very easy to insert.
Nice beveling in there too.
Yeah, very deep beveling. And also what I call is a comfort cut on the bottom of the trigger guard has 2 scallops on either side. So I don't know if you ever have holding the weapon with the knuckle getting rubbed on the sharp corners of the trigger guard. So I have 2 little bevels. It's comfort cut.
So what are your MSRPs on what we see here?
The OIP MSRP is $3,300.
Because obviously you still have titanium in that as well.
Yeah, this titanium unfortunately is not cheap, and
no, it's not.
So is carbon fiber, and imagine trying to build everything on this gun is custom. This should have been more like a $5,000 rifle. We want to keep it very affordable for our customers, so we do our best to keep it cost effective. Just so you know, the pistol grip alone, takeout guys maybe can build maybe 2 pistol grips a day. That's all it takes to mold that
Oh, wow.
pistol grip, just the carbon fiber, and then not to count everything else, how much time it took to build this. So, of course, over time, as more volume and things, we can hopefully bring that cost down. But lately, with the titanium prices going through the roof, aluminum prices going tripling since the last couple of years, it's really hard even to keep it at this price point. So we're doing our best to keep that affordable.
We do have 2 questions from 2 of our Patreons.
Of course.
And let's see if you can answer them for us. The first one is Sean. He wants to know if do you have any plans on doing a forged ambi control lower?
Currently, we do not have a plan to build a dedicated ambi control forged lower. However, we're very almost there. With our drop-in ambi mag catch mag release, with our ambi safety, you pretty much have an ambi with the exception of the bolt release. We actually also have a new product coming out. It's basically our own version of the battery assist device. It works with our enhanced bolt release. It's actually, if anybody look at our enhanced bolt release, you see a counter sinkhole on the back. It's actually in preparation for this future product. It'll fit with our proprietary. It has a proprietary three lock mechanism that goes around the paddle, and a screw that goes through the center, and it comes down and makes an ambi. So we can do a drop in. You can do an ambi control very quickly on any mil-spec style receiver. This is why we didn't do a built-in bolt release on the forged receiver.
The next question from Tim is, can you talk about your chrome moly black nitride barrels and why they chose to go with them?
Okay. We really like the 4150 chromoly steel. It's been fairly proven as a good
Mil-spec.
Yeah, good quality steel for gun barrels. We like the nitride process. I'm a fan of nitriding. Nitriding is a process that converts the top surface layer of the metal into a really hard finish that's durable without changing the tolerance. So one of the big problem I have, with or let's say chrome lining or something in comparison, is that it does alter the tolerance of the barrel. Okay,
it's very, manufactured that way for you to with taking that tolerance of the chrome plating into a
correct, and that's an extremely tough process. You can ask FN and anybody that's building high quality chrome hammer forged or chrome plated barrels. It's a very difficult process. Not only expensive, but if you're not done right, you can have chrome flaking off, and your tolerances could be all over the place. So traditional less. Because most of our weapons are for civilian use and not full auto.
Correct.
So for me, it's not necessarily needed, warranted for that heavier duty chrome lining that can allow the barrel to last longer. Because most of them probably prefer more accuracy. Then they're not going to shoot full auto and shoot several thousand rounds through it in an afternoon. So we figured I personally like the nitriding because it gives a very accurate barrel still. If you make an accurate barrel, then you nitride it, it's still going to be pretty accurate. It's not like you take an accurate barrel and you chrome line it, it's probably not going to be accurate anymore unless you lap it afterwards. So this is why we chose the material, 4150, and the nitriding process.
Well, we really want to thank you guys for taking the time to come out here and let's take a look at these. And again, we're going to be doing reviews on each of the weapons that you see here. We're going to start off with our... I'm sorry, what's the model I'm starting out with?
Oh, this is the Authority Elite?
Yeah. We'll be starting out with the Authority Elite, which is probably my favorite one of the collection I've seen so far. And then we're going to take a look at some of the entry-level forged receiver versions. And we're going to start talking more about the individual components in videos to come. But again, thank you very much, George, for coming. I really appreciate your time.